Hi and welcome to today's video where hopefully I can cascade from my experience, expertise, and knowledge to help you be a better informed business leader in taking decisions with minimum risks and simplicity about where you're heading and how you will get there, help you pivot and reinvent yourself as needed, attract, keep, motivate, and empower people around you, help you even find a sweet spot that will keep most stakeholders happy with your performance and management style, lead the way into new horizons with elegant simplicity, but not forgetting your competitive advantage, and make sure you focus on this. And last but not least, increase efficiency, profitability, and productivity without stepping over dead bodies. Now, let's deep dive into today's topic. Folks, and welcome to today's episode where we're going to be talking about a very hot topic, especially with the redundancies around us, especially with people losing their jobs, especially with companies shrinking or disappearing overnight, or being mergers, acquisitions out there, dissolvations. It's what's happening around us, and I think we need to be resilient, we need to be agile, and we need to find and quickly understand the best practices that will get most interviews out there for us. So the question is, how do we build a CV that will stand out? And not only that, not only stand out, but it will generate an invitation from a company for you to have a job interview, okay? Guess what? Everyone is flooded with CVs these days, and a lot of people are applying for jobs. Everybody wants a job, and what I've seen is that even the vast chunk of applicants applying for certain roles, they're not eligible. They're just desperate to apply over there, eating the time of the recruiter, and generating frustration and making this search challenge quite harder to find for a candidate. So I want to share with you my format, and I decided to go with a 2-pager. Okay, guess what? Why? Because no one has the time. No one really cares how special you are, how beautiful you are, how tall you are, how many great things you've done in the past, and how you see the world, to say so. But they need to quickly understand, once they open your CV, that CV is not a burden for them to navigate, read, understand, and label you as eligible or not for that role. So for that reason, from the time concern, attention span concern, and the quickness of navigating and understanding that CV, I decided to go with a 2-pager format. In my case, it's even more sensitive because I deal with executives, and senior leaders definitely don't have the time. And what's important with senior leaders, and there's an entire art over here, is for them to quickly understand what you've done, what you can do, and where you would fit. That's right, because in some cases, guys, you might apply for a certain role or job, but you would quickly come to realize that, you know what, the recruiter has decided to go, or the company has decided to choose a different candidate, but you didn't know about certain job openings internally, and they considered you were fit for a different role. And for that reason, you're still getting an invitation to an interview, okay? So that's the reason why I try to keep these 2-pager format for my CV. Now, what has worked for me, and I think this is important to note, might not work for everyone, but I'm trying to provide you guys with some tips anchored in experience and reality over here that will generate interviews, okay? This is not gonna guarantee a job, and there are many more steps to go through, but at least you will be called from a pool of candidates to have a call and clarify, and that kind of person that is trying to offer you that job will actually invest time in understanding where you would fit and how you would be an add-on for that company. Okay, now let's start with the colors of this two-pager format. These are colors that are highly representative of me. They've been associated with me in every little corner, from my signature, my website, my CV, my business cards, and even my watch. So these are the colors that I'm fond of, and I wanted to put them out there because I associate them with my personality. Okay, so that's the reason I have chosen these colors over here. Now you will see that my picture is a combination between formal and informal. I don't think you can go wrong with a formal picture, profile picture, or CV picture. I think you can definitely go wrong with an informal picture from you making a barbecue, having a party, or use photos from a dating app, something that has shocked me to see recently in some CVs. But what the message I was trying to pass on over here is that behind the shirt and tie, I'm still a human being. I'm approachable, and even though I'm talking about senior executive roles, I'm still a human being, and ethics and the people side of things, the social side of things for me is important. So that's why I've chosen this blend between formal and informal when it came to my CV picture. Okay. Now, in the first page, okay, I'm trying to show who I am, some tips about my personality, and that goes through the fact that I have a motto over here, the fact that I have an intro over here, the fact that I've added in my favorite colors, the fact that I have a couple of keywords about me. Okay, so I'm trying to tell that other person who they are dealing with and who they might work with and who they might bring within the organization. Okay, now starting with the intro, I want to tell people where did I started. Okay, and this is like, I would say 5 to 7 sentences max. So this is where I started, and this is why I migrated in a certain direction. Okay, it's you were a business and economics teacher, okay, in international school. So why did you decide to jump in a different profile, in a different domain, in a different job, in a different role? Okay, so here is what has been itching me inside and has been the drive for so many years, and I'm explaining it in just 5 sentences over here, okay? So I started my professional career as a business and economics teacher, and I strongly believe that in order to teach others, you need to walk the walk, right? You need to show you have skin in the game, you need to show you have practical business experience, and why not put your mouth where your money is by making, several personal investments, business investments, or running several personal businesses so that when you talk, it's not just knowledge, right? And in fact, this was important for me because I came to realize quite early that there are a lot of companies working with consultants in general that have pure theoretical knowledge or follow just a pure protocol or procedure or PowerPoint standards. And of course, if you're a large multinational and you just need a consultant to tell you which is the most appropriate company to join from a taxation and fiscal optimization point of view, that's easy to find. But if you need a consultant that actually has gone through the pitfalls of a certain business or industry in building it from scratch, then you cannot have someone just with theory. So this is my constant drive of gathering and building as much practical experience as possible besides my constant education so that I can talk from experience also. Okay? So that's how I've built this intro, guys, of a few sentences over here that you see. Okay. Now, we go to the education side of things. I believe that, the recruiter or whoever is taking that interview with you, they can go into details and ask the diplomas and they can ask about the universities. But basically, I'm trying to give them like a quick understanding of what's my basic preparation, what kind of let's say, domain or specialization over here. But very important, I'm also trying to point out over here that education continues to be a priority for me. You could see work in progress, work in progress, work in progress. So I'm trying to let people know that this is not a closed chapter. I've decided to make some financial investments, some personal financial investments in my education, because I believe this is the direction that I'm heading towards, and also help them understand that my skills can be of use maybe even in other areas. For example, here, accounting and finance, or coaching, executive coaching certification, or if you talk about a global executive MBA, maybe you're part of an alumni network that can open some doors for your future employer, or your future company that you will join, or your future client, to say so. So this is how I present my education: past, present, and future. So where we're heading. And I try to underline, and this is important for me, that this will be a chapter that will hopefully never end. Okay, it's going to be a continuous work in progress. I just need to find what's the right fit for me. Okay, now you will see that the experience over here, in many CVs, I see at least 2 to 3 pages. I'm talking about folks now that have 10 plus years of experience in several industries and several roles. You would see over here that they would tend to put description about their job, their role, their achievements, challenges, what they have solved, build case studies. That's very time consuming, right? Of course, they're extremely important, because many job titles don't match job descriptions. This is quite real, and this is quite a real problem. I hear people calling themselves general managers, and when I ask them about some of the departments that they must oversee, they say, "Oh, but I haven't done that." Okay? And at the same time, it's not quite the same thing to be a CEO in your own company, which you've opened with $300, for example, and you have 0 invoices, 0 experience, and maybe you didn't have any client, but you've been a CEO for 2 or 3 years. Or you've been a CEO at a multinational overseeing multiple geographies and multiple employees. Even though, there's the same job title over there, the job itself and what you have done and the achievements will be extremely different, radically different. So for that reason, I am aware of the trap of job titles just being thrown out there, but I do have a solution for this. Whether you're gonna link your CV over here with, let's say, a LinkedIn link, or as it's in my case, a website, you will come to see that I've actually found a way to get that recruiter that is interested, or that executive senior, to go on my website and look at the case studies and look at the mandate and mission that I have taken, and what have I achieved in each of these jobs over here. Another aspect that I think it's extremely important is that you write down not only the company name over here, but also the industry or the niche or the area you were operating. Some of the company names are explicit, like software over here, you would understand exactly. But if you look at Move8, for example, it would be hard to narrow it and understand that this is a BPO IT giant. So I try to show that person that's going to look at this CV the plethora of experience that I have, and underline, very important, the industries that I have a background experience over there, or I've tried to hustle within the years to actually get towards some achievements. And I think one very important thing is, let's say if you have 20 or 30 years of experience, again, you're going to have to find a different format for this. But I think keeping it quite this short, it makes the other person looking at it understand the industry, the roles, the complexity. They can Google some of those companies. And last but not least, the geographies in which you have knowledge and have operated. I decided to go with this I would say, catchy format in which you put the flags over there of the geographies in which you have experience, expertise, overseen, familiar with the legislation, familiar with the business, the way of doing business over there, and that's the reason I added these flags over here, so they will show that person where my tentacles were within these roles, leading roles. Okay, now to close this topic, if you want more details, you just go on my website and you will find there the granular details of each of these job roles. Now, I've also decided to add a motto over here under my name and my website. Ambition exceeds talent. Guys, I'm not saying talent doesn't matter, right? I'm trying to say that in my case, it took a while until I discovered my talents. I managed to sharpen them, identify them, and use them to generate results. But until then, it was only ambition that kept me going. It was only ambition that helped me, scrape and push and try to realize what am I good at and what do I do well and where do I fit. So what I'm trying to say is that talent without ambition might not get you anywhere, but ambition, even without talent, will get you somewhere. It will get you somewhere. If you're determined to do something, you will have some failures. You might be pointed out that that's not the direction. But eventually, this ambition will help you progress. And I'm not talking here just financially. I'm talking as a person, growing as a person, as experience, as character, as mentality. So for me, it has done wonders being ambitious. Not blindly ambitious, not stupidly ambitious, but ambition has helped me discover my talents, and it has proven to me that it's more important to have an ambition than just raw talent without any ambition. So that's what I'm trying to say in this motto, this personal motto: ambition exceeds talent. Now, last part of this first page from my CV has to do with keywords. Now, I try to link these keywords not with just what I personally think of myself when I look in the mirror, because this can be extremely biased, but if you will talk with people that have worked for me, with me, under me, etc., they will point you towards these keywords. Okay? And I decided to look at all the referrals that I had, the recommendations, and look deep inside and say, okay, what are the keywords that describe me as a person? So for me was being ethical as a leader, being a problem solver, right? Being that kind of guy that people come at and say, look, things went south. There's a tsunami coming. What do we do? How do we go through this panic? How do we navigate through this crisis? Okay, so that's kind of the reputation that I built over the years. I do like to think I have a strong suit in number, and he has proven in many occasions that this artistry in finance and accounting has helped navigate through crisis, whether we talk about COVID crisis, about the economic crisis. I do like to think that I'm a business connector because, I look at other businesses, I look at other people, what they do, I keep in touch with them. I also build a community. I also try to keep close to some people, businesses, or talent in general that can solve several problems and bring them in the equation and give them the chance to shine. And I think emotional intelligence is extremely important because it's important. I mean, it's a bit overrated if you think about it. Everybody thinks they have emotional intelligence, but trust me, it is extremely critical to understand what's not written, what's not being said. What does the silence in the room mean? What does the frustration within a person mean? What does a person not doing basic things that's expected from him or her mean? So what does that mean? Reading what's not written, hearing what's not there to be heard or not loud, and seeing what's not there to be seen or tangible, and all this by understanding what other people are going through and helping them navigate through that crisis. That's what emotional intelligence means for me. Although I said that, these days everybody thinks they have them just because they send a form and they hear the feedback of their employees. That doesn't mean they have emotional intelligence. Or they call you in the office for a talk, they listen to you, and at the end of the day, they just do whatever they like. They just gave you the chance to vocalize some of your thoughts without them even considering them. Okay, that's how I see emotional intelligence. And last but not least, guys, I've seen many people use advanced level, intermediate level, expert level, native level when it comes to foreign languages. Keep it simple and stupid. Just look at the international frameworks. Pick a level over there that's relevant. Don't really inflate it, okay? Wouldn't advise that. And do realize that if you want to put there a certain level for your language, you gotta be able to walk the walk. And if you're able to lie or just inflate things at this level, it's with a person like me, it's not gonna work. Okay, so I appreciate modesty and being anchored in reality than just having a very infatuated picture about your skills and what you have achieved, because that's not going to get you very far from my experience. So this is where we close everything for the first page related to a CV. And to do a small recap before we go into the second page and final page, we must emphasize on our profile picture, maybe add in a motto or a personal mantra, have an intro, 5 to 7 lines, which tells people, how you started and why did you pivot in a certain direction. Focus on your present and future education. Don't forget to mention companies you've worked in and industries especially, and if people want details about your role over there, they can go on LinkedIn or your personal website. Now, build keywords which are anchored in what people have as a feedback about you as a person, not necessarily do this in a self-reflection exercise. And don't forget to keep standardized evaluations for your language level. Thank you so much for listening to this episode, and I look forward to hear how this has worked for you.